Welcome to Edisla. The quest for finding another Earth-like planet has captivated scientists and dreamers alike. With advances in technology, we are now able to identify and study exoplanets, planets that orbit stars outside our solar system that might resemble our own. As we delve deeper into the cosmos, we discover worlds that, under the right conditions, could potentially support life. Here's an in-depth look at some of the most intriguing Earth-like exoplanets that could be candidates for human exploration or even habitation. Our first stop takes us about 1,400 light-years away to the constellation Cygnus, where we find Kepler 452 b, often called Earth's cousin. It's about 60% larger than Earth and orbits a G-type star, just like our Sun. Kepler 452 b sits within its star's habitable zone, where temperatures are just right for liquid water, and where there's water, there could be life. Future telescopes will help us understand its atmosphere. Imagine a planet with oceans, continents, and clouds bathed in the glow of a sun-like star. Our next destination takes us about 500 light-years away to another planet in the constellation Cygnus Kepler 186f. Now, this exoplanet is a bit smaller than Kepler 452 b, closer in size to our Earth, and it orbits a red dwarf star. Now, you might be thinking, a red dwarf? Those are much cooler and smaller than our Sun. And you'd be right, but don't let that fool you. Kepler 186f orbits its star much closer than Earth orbits the Sun, and that puts it right in the habitable zone. But here's the catch with red dwarfs. They tend to be much more active than our Sun, with frequent flares that could potentially strip away a planet's atmosphere. So while Kepler 186f sits in the habitable zone, its long-term habitability is still up for debate. Imagine a world bathed in the reddish glow of a red dwarf sun. The sky might be a different color, the plants might photosynthesize differently, but hey, life finds a way, right? We've only just scratched the surface of what's out there. Let's talk about Proxima Centauri B, shall we? This exoplanet is practically on our cosmic doorstep, a mere 4.24 light-years away, orbiting the closest star to our Sun, Proxima Centauri. Talk about a close encounter of the stellar kind. Now, Proxima Centauri B is a bit of a puzzle. It's a bit larger than Earth and orbits within its star's habitable zone, but there's a twist. Proxima Centauri is, you guessed it, another red dwarf star. And remember what we said about red dwarfs. They can be a bit temperamental, prone to flares that could be bad news for any life trying to get a foothold. So while Proxima Centauri B is tantalizingly close, it might not be the most hospitable place to set up shop. Still, can you imagine being able to actually travel to another star system within a human lifetime? That's the promise of Proxima Centauri B. It's a target that's close enough to dream about reaching, and that makes all the difference. Trappist One Systems 7 Wonders. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to enter a planetary system like no other, the Trappist One System. Located about 40 light-years away in the constellation Aquarius, this system is home not to one, not to two, but to 7 Earth-sized planets. And here's the kicker. 3 of these planets, Trappist 1, E, F, and G, orbit within the star's habitable zone. That's right, 3 potentially habitable worlds in a single system. Now, Trappist 1 is an ultra-cool dwarf star, even smaller and cooler than your average red dwarf. But here's the thing about these planets. They're so close together that they're probably tidally locked, meaning one side always faces the star, while the other side is in perpetual darkness. Imagine the kind of weather patterns that would create. The Trappist One system is a goldmine for astronomers. It gives us a chance to study multiple planets in the habitable zone of the same star, which could help us understand the conditions needed for life to arise. Now, LHS 1140b, a super-Earth in the habitable zone, let's journey to the constellation Eridanus, about 40 light-years away, where we find LHS 1140b, a super-Earth with a mass about 6.6 times that of our own planet. It's thought to be a rocky planet, not a gas giant, and it orbits within its star's habitable zone. LHS 1140b's star is a red dwarf. This one seems calmer, with less frequent flares. That bodes well for the planet's ability to hold on to its atmosphere. Chapter 6, GJ 667cc, a super-Earth in a triple star system. Our next stop takes us to the constellation Scorpius, about 22 light-years away, where we find a planet that's truly one of a kind. GJ 667cc. This super-Earth, with a mass about 4.5 times that of Earth, orbits within the habitable zone of a star called GJ 667c. But here's where things get interesting. GJ 667c is part of a triple star system, that's right folks. If you lived on this planet, you'd have 3 suns in the sky. Talk about a spectacular sunrise. Now, GJ 667c is a red dwarf, so it's not as bright as our sun, but the combined light from the 3 stars would still provide a decent amount of illumination to GJ 667cc. Of course, having 3 stars tugging on you gravitationally could make for some interesting orbital dynamics. But hey, life on GJ 667cc would never be boring, that's for sure. Chapter 7. Ross 128b, a temperate world. Let's take a trip to the constellation Virgo, about 11 light-years away, where we find Ross 128b, a planet that's remarkably similar in size and mass to our own Earth. It orbits a red dwarf star called Ross 128, and you guessed it, it sits within the habitable zone. Now, what makes Ross 128b so intriguing is that its star is relatively quiet for a red dwarf. That means it's less likely to bombard the planet with harmful flares, which increases the chances of Ross 128b holding onto its atmosphere and potentially harboring life. Imagine a world with a similar gravitational pull to Earth, bathed in the dim light of a red dwarf sun. The sky might be a different color, the plants might have a reddish hue, but the possibilities for life are still tantalizing. Prepare yourselves, folks, because we're about to visit a planet that's making headlines. K218b. Located about 124 light-years away in the constellation Leo, this super-Earth is about 8 times more massive than our planet and orbits within the habitable zone of a red dwarf star called K218. But here's the bombshell: astronomers have detected water vapor in K218b's atmosphere. That's right, folks. We're talking about a planet beyond our solar system that might have clouds, rain, and maybe even oceans. Now, there's still a lot we don't know about K218b's atmosphere. It could be a thick, steamy atmosphere that's more like a sauna than a tropical paradise. But the detection of water vapor is a game changer. It shows us that planets around other stars can have the ingredients for life as we know it. Let's set course for the constellation Vela, about 36 light-years away, where we find HD 85512b, another super-Earth that's captured the attention of astronomers. This planet is about 3.6 times more massive than Earth and orbits within the habitable zone of an orange dwarf star called HD 85512. Now, orange dwarfs are a bit cooler than our Sun, but they're also much more stable and longer-lived. That means HD 85512b could have a very long and potentially life-friendly existence. Of course, we still need to learn more about HD 85512b's atmosphere and surface conditions, but its location around a stable, long-lived star makes it a prime candidate for further study. Who knows, maybe one day we'll send a probe to this distant world to get a closer look. Our final destination takes us to the constellation Ophiuchus, a mere 14 light-years away, where we find Wolf 1061c. This planet is about 4.3 times more massive than Earth and orbits within the habitable zone of a red dwarf star called Wolf 1061. Now, what makes Wolf 1061c so intriguing is that it's thought to be a rocky planet, just like Earth. And while its star is a red dwarf, it's one of the quietest and most stable red dwarfs we know of. That means Wolf 1061c could have a relatively peaceful environment, conducive to the development of life. Of course, we still have a lot to learn about this intriguing world, but its proximity to Earth and its location around a quiet, stable star make it a prime target for future observations. Who knows what secrets Wolf 1061c might hold? The discovery of these Earth-like exoplanets represents a significant step forward in our quest to find a new home among the stars. While many factors contribute to a planet's potential for habitability, including its distance from its star, atmospheric composition, and geological activity, These exoplanets provide intriguing possibilities for future exploration and research. As technology advances, we will continue to refine our search for exoplanets that might host life and potentially offer a new home for humanity. Each discovery brings us closer to understanding the diverse possibilities that exist in the universe and underscores the unique and precious nature of our own planet Earth.